Hello class, my name is Elle and I'll be introducing developmental coordination disorder. As a child's development progresses, they'll learn skills to tie their shoes, maintain their balance, and the motor skills to write legibly in their classes. When a child has difficulty acquiring these motor skills, they will have difficulty performing such tasks like shoe tying and handwriting. These common observations can be a sign of developmental coordination disorder. So what is developmental coordination disorder or DCD? According to the following researchers, it is an impairment in the acquisition of motor skills or a delay in the development of motor skills. To diagnose DCD, the following criteria must be present. The subject is tested, their motor learning and motor execution would score substantially below than what is expected at their age. Their impairment of motor skills would significantly impact their activities of daily living at school and at home, their academic productivity, and their play and leisure. And lastly, their impairments are not due to general medical difficulty, such as cerebral palsy or pervasive development disorder. Apart from the examples earlier, a child that has DCD might be characterized as clumsy, where they may bump into things or other people. They have a strange, unsteady style of walking or running. They have an impaired grasp, which affects their handwriting and drawing. And they may often have short attention spans and lowered self-esteem, because if you imagine having difficulty performing tasks, they might feel intimidated playing with their friends in games that they feel they might not be able to do. Other characteristics are that there are signs of neurological deficits, so hypotonia, persistent primitive reflexes, and immature balance, and they may have learning disabilities as well. Since DCD is often overlooked, it is pretty prevalent among school-aged children, having 5 to 6% of school-aged children affected, and more often boys are slightly more affected than girls. DCD is also present at birth, but it isn't observed until school age, where you can see them play and apply the motor skills that they may have difficulties with. They may also have an associated disorder such as ADHD, learning disabilities, speech-language delays, and emotional behavioral problems. DCD is classified as a neurodevelopmental disorder. Some functional implications: child may have an inability to sequence activities. For example, like the child getting tagged there in the photo, he might have a delayed reaction because he can't plan to move his body away from the girl that's tagging him. Or other activities of daily living, such as getting dressed, the sequence of putting a shirt on and putting pants on, or completing writing assignments. It also impacts their oral motor skills, such as reading and their perception, and it inevitably impacts their social integration and emotional development. Impact on development. DCD will delay the ability to learn new age-appropriate skills. For example, when they get old enough to be able to make their own lunch or do their own laundry, they might have difficulty following 2 to 3 step motor commands. It'll affect their participation, which will have a negative lifelong impact on themselves, because like one study I read about, children that have DCD might be bullied because they're clumsy and they'll not want to participate with their peers. and inevitably affect their social and emotional behaviors. Reflecting etiology as a child ages, DCD has no known cause. Some theories have attributed it to biological or neurological causes, such as a dysfunction during brain development or malnutrition during their infancy. Coordination deficiencies will carry over into adulthood. So, for example, adults who still bump into things or drop things, it might be a correlative to DCD. But early identification of DCD can improve the prognosis, and by increasing awareness and introducing clients to strategies and techniques to develop their motor skills as they age. Specific considerations for OT. I thought it was really cool to have found some research that had different approaches. So for the top-down approach, the more client-centered approach, they'll mainly focus on task-specific interventions that are important to them, and they'll focus on the things that they want to make a goal out of. The bottom-up approach, addressing those sensory inputs and stimulation, so interventions that utilize sensory integration, process-oriented approaches, and perceptual motor training. And also, modification is used for DCD, where you can have modifications at home, such as easy to wear clothing, so it's easier for them to handle elastic banded pants or Velcro strapping shoes, and parents or caregivers and family should be encouraged to use practical activities that have simple steps that will encourage them to want to do these activities, like setting the table or organizing their books at home. At school, having a modified environment is helpful. So, for example, their teachers can, instead of them having to write out their notes, they'll have the printed notes, or they'll provide wide ruled paper for them to write, and more desk space if they need more room to move around. And of course, you want to set realistic, purposeful short-term goals, such as practicing how to set up a math problem before actually having them complete the problem. And that's developmental coordination disorder. Thank you guys for watching and listening, and I hope you learned something from my presentation. Thank you.